We are live. And I'm saying we, ladies and gentlemen, because guess what? For episode 40, the big 4-0, we have a very, very special co-host coming back from her maternity leave, so to speak.
My extended
14-month maternity leave. Unpaid, mind you, from the podcast.
Yeah.
You know, this whole thing is unpaid.
Yeah. We should talk about the benefits.
We need to talk about health insurance and how expensive that is. And if there's anybody listening that has an in with some kind of insurance company,
yeah, hit us up.
We need you
badly.
So bad. Hi, everybody. It's really good to be back. Maddie and I want to make it a priority to get back in the routine with podcasting.
Yep.
I just think it's like a great way to share a little bit of our personality, and really get into the weeds on topics that just truthfully I cannot do in a 30-second reel on, like Instagram or TikTok and stuff. And so 2 things that we're doing, 3 things, I suppose. One is Maddie and I are, this is another thing. Maddie and I are doing a 100-day challenge. We're going to post every day on Instagram for 100 days. Both of us, me on my Alex Timmy Fitness and her on her Meals with Maddie. And then, and if we don't, the streak resets for both of us, which would suck. And also, if we don't, the other person, like if I don't, she has to run 2 miles.
Yeah.
That might not sound that bad for like runners. The runners are probably like, that's my warm up.
Right.
It's like, okay, I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
For us, that's like pretty tough. And I'm working on it. I'm getting there.
I physically don't.
You couldn't do 2 miles straight.
I'm not even going to say don't think.
But you could go slow. Remember how we talked about that the other day? Like, what's the slowest? And like other people might be able to walk past you at a reasonable,
sure. My issue is that, especially if I'm running by myself, I cannot.
You just go fast.
I can't slow down.
Yeah.
I even like mentally tell myself, okay, slow down. You can't keep up this pace.
Yeah.
And I'm still zooming.
Yeah. The second thing that we are doing is, obviously getting back into the podcast and starting to post on YouTube more. And that's a me thing, you know.
Yeah.
But
I could pop in.
Yeah, sure, you could pop in. But yeah, we're gonna start doing that a little bit more. And then there were 2 other things, but honest to God, I already forgot them. Whatever, it's fine. Anyway, that wasn't the point. Well, she's back on Meals with Maddie. Maybe that was one of them, but we kind of already covered that.
Yeah.
Anyway, hello, everybody. We're so excited to be back. Today, we're going to be talking about ice baths, cold water immersion. Sometimes CWI is what people call it, especially in like the research. And it's gotten a lot of hype over the last few years, but especially in the last like 2 years, there have been some people out there, big time influencers that we will get into a little bit later, that have been really preaching the proponent or the positives of cold water immersion, of ice baths. I mean, these people would make you think ice baths help you recover faster, that they increase fat loss to a superhuman level, and they make you psychologically more disciplined than a Tibetan monk. And but the best research, I don't think it's that conclusive. So today we are going to cover when cold helps, when cold water immersion helps recovery and when it doesn't. We are going to cover the fat loss, kind of portion of that. I'm going to talk just briefly about hot versus cold, because people, whenever I say stuff about like cold water immersion or ice baths, people are like, well, what about the sauna? So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the mental gains, because some people say like, well, I don't do it for that, I do it for the mental aspect. And okay, I hear you. We'll talk about that too. And then we'll talk about like when ice baths actually make sense, like when they are a viable strategy. At the end, we will have a very simple decision tree type thing for you to wrap your head around and be able to make really smart easy decision on whether or not you want to or should take an ice bath.
I like it.
Before we get into that, though, do you want to like give a recap of what the hell you've been up to the last 14 months to the listeners?
Raising a child.
Raising a child.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I was going to see if there were other things that came to mind.
Sourdough?
Oh, I got into sourdough. Yeah. I'm 5 years late to the sourdough trend.
Sure.
That was really a COVID thing for most people.
Yep.
When people were stuck in their homes, they all started making bread. But yeah, now I am doing it. It's delightful. I'm not great at it.
No, stop.
Okay. Alex is really gassing me up right now, because if you're on the subreddits or if you're into sourdough, then you know that there is like a science to this. And like my bread
here's my
good.
science. Here's my science. Is it delicious? Is it delicious?
I never said it didn't taste good. I'm just saying it's not like a perfected loaf yet.
This is like saying that Lionel Messi isn't one of the greatest soccer players of all time because he doesn't understand the physics of a ball. And maybe he does, but like, I'm just, for argument's sake, like he doesn't understand the physics of the temperature's effect on ball speed and direction. And like, maybe he does, but that's ridiculous to say. If you make delicious bread, you're a good bread maker.
Well, I appreciate it. I think the people who are into sourdough would disagree, but I appreciate it. I do agree that the bread tastes good.
Let them DM me. Let them message me. If you think that my wife's sourdough is bad, I personally invite you to step into my DMs. Okay.
But I think even more fun than the actual sourdough itself is all the discard recipes. The sourdough discard pancakes were amazing.
Yeah, those were good. Those are really good.
Other than that, just raising Milo. That's
yeah.
Big. I mean, I help out with work.
You help out with the business, quite a bit, yeah. And we got some cool stuff there. But to be honest, I don't think anybody gives a shit about like the behind the scenes of the business. If you guys do, let me know. I can talk about that a little bit, but I just don't think that's what people are coming to me for. Except like coaches are coming to me for that. Yeah. They care about that. On my end, let's see, what have I been up to? So obviously the Change Project launched the group program. That's been going really well. The AI assistant coach has been working phenomenally. So really, really happy with the way that's turned out.
Yeah, people love it.
Oh yeah, people love that. The one-on-one nutrition coaching, just started that up. So that's been really fun and exciting. Started working with a few people on rapid fat loss protocols. So going to have a YouTube video coming out about that in the next, I don't know, maybe like 3 months from now, because I'm taking people through a 6-week aggressive fat loss phase. And then we're going to like talk about the results, the science, so on and so forth, tell their story. Going down to North Carolina to see my best bud, my best friend in the whole world. That is not reciprocated yet, but it will be one day. Greg Knuckles. I cannot believe I get to name drop that and say that I'm going to go hang out with him. Now it's not a done deal.
Oh, sure. But I mean,
but he did say, like, let's hang out.
Yeah. So. But I also want to say, like, that's not like the reason we're going down there.
It is now. Yeah, we might be scoping out the area for to move there for maybe forever, maybe for a little while. We're not sure yet, but so that's a little bit of a recap of what we've been up to. If you are listening to this right now, thank you so much for riding with us for this whole time. And anyway, ready to get into the episode? We've been yapping a little bit. Let's.
I love yapping.
Yeah, no, me too. Let's get into the episode though.
All right.
Okay, so the way this is going to work on this specific episode, and we might repeat this if people enjoy it, but the way it's going to work is don't look at my screen. You can't. Okay. You're not allowed to look at my screen, okay? Because you're going to read ahead. You always do that. You read ahead, and then I don't get to surprise you or like tell a joke because you've already read the joke because she reads real fast.
Yeah.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to section this out, and then I'm gonna ask her questions, and she's going to be like a proxy for you, the audience, and she'll then also have to summarize it so that, again, you, the audience, have some real key takeaways so that when Jeff at work is like, oh, I'm doing ice baths and you should too, you can be like, if you're not a combative person, you don't got to be like, actually, Jeff, here's all my receipts, but you can be like, no, I'm not going to do that. Or if your husband or wife says like, hey, I think we should start doing ice baths, you can be like, I don't think so, babe. Because you got to be nice.
Hopefully, I summarize correctly.
I'll correct you if you will.
Yeah,
but you will
jump in quick.
Let's go ahead and just start.
Okay.
If you had to guess, and you have a leg up because you've been around me for so long.
Yeah.
If you had to guess, do you think ice baths help you recover faster from lifting?
Help you recover faster from lifting?
Yep.
No. Wait. No.
Go ahead and explain. Go ahead and explain yourself.
So my hesitation and pause is I know that there are like case uses of ice baths when you're like CrossFit Games athletes.
Sure. Yeah. You just skip to like section 6. So for anybody listening, you can turn it off now. No, keep going. This is great.
So I mean, define recover. like they need it to I don't know if what I'm about to say is correct.
Sure, but
don't they need it to like blunt something in order to like recover in time for the next event?
Mm-hmm.
Like they're like stalling something. Yeah. So in that case, sure. Mm-hmm. But like for the average person, like, aren't you hurting your muscle growth?
Yeah. So let's talk about it. So there have been 2 really good studies on this, one in 2015 and then one that repeated basically the exact same protocol in 2019. These are by Roberts et al. In 2015 in the Journal of Physiology and Fife et al. 2019 also in the Journal of, the second one is the Journal of Applied Physiology. Guess there's a difference there. Anyway, resistance trained men, first one was resistance trained men, 12 weeks, 2 groups. One did cold water immersion after lifting, and then the other just did like some kind of like active recovery post lift. The cold water group had worse muscle growth and reduced strength gains, which makes sense because muscle growth and strength kind of go hand in hand largely. If you have bigger muscle, you're going to be stronger, all else equal. And basically the thing here is that ice baths can reduce soreness in the short term. So if you go from a really heavy leg day, for example, and then you go hop in an ice bath, you might not be as sore the next day. So you were right on that. What you were looking for is it's blunting the inflammatory response. And so in some ways that is not so bad. But when we zoom out and look at the adaptations, I mean, when we do a leg day, what do we want the goal? What's the goal? Probably muscle. Like muscle growth and strength, right? Because like otherwise, what are we doing there? We just like suffering. I mean, maybe. Can you imagine? What's that phrase? Train insane or stay the same. That was like Ronnie Coleman era. Mm-hmm. Imagine training insane and then also staying the same.
Yeah.
Miserable situation. So, yeah, I mean, if you are frequently using, an ice bath within some kind of window, could you separate it by a few hours? That would probably help out, but it seems that frequent cold immersion, I would not recommend getting into an ice bath. And I don't have a good time frame for like, oh, this far out you are totally safe and you'll get 100% of your gains or 90 or 80 or 70% of your gains. So I would just say that if muscle growth is a goal, probably just keep it off that day.
Yeah.
And maybe, I don't know, maybe like, do you need ice baths? Because by the end of this episode, you're probably going to be saying no, but let's move into the second part, which is, real quick. Okay. Now go ahead and recap that for the audience. Here's the summary, audience.
The summary.
If you just zoned out in the car.
Yeah. So it's been studied that ice baths post exercise reduce your muscle growth and your strength gains from like a workout.
Yep. But they do reduce soreness in the short term.
Yes, but they do reduce soreness in the short term.
Yep. Perfect. Okay. So fat loss.
I was listening really hard because I was like really nervous that you were going to, sometimes you start like rattling stuff off and it's like, oh no, I have to like, extra listen.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I think this could be helpful because I could just start like machine gunning out random facts and saying hypertrophy. A bunch of people are like, hold on. Okay. Let's talk about fat loss. So there are people out there that say cold exposure burns more calories and that it is like this gold standard approach. I mean, there was one thing that was said out there that was so absolutely ridiculous. And I obviously I'm being very vague right now, but it was something along the lines of like, there was a massive influencer who said that if you do frequent cold water immersion, you are going to boost your total daily expenditure, not just like the expenditure during while you're actually in the cold water, but total daily energy expenditure by like 4x. Like, okay, dog, you're telling me somebody who's burning 2,000 calories is going to start burning 8,000 calories? I mean, it's just, it's so ridiculous. Some of the claims I put on my Instagram story, somebody said something and she said, oh, or he, she, they, whatever, said, like, oh, I don't know. Some influencer said that you should eat some of your carbs before workout and some of your carbs after workout, but had like 40% here, 30% there, like very specific. It's like people just make shit up. It's crazy. Anyway,
Yeah.
So back to the topic about fat loss. What do you think? Do you think cold water immersion, ice baths, are good or bad for fat loss, or neutral? Good, bad, or neutral for fat loss? Go ahead, take your guess.
So my hunch would be that any impact would be so minimal that it would be negligible. So that hunch would be like basically neutral.
Yeah. So you're basically on the money that it is pretty negligible, but at the same time, we have Andrew Huberman. Can you pull up the Andrew Huberman ice bath fat loss? Just type in Huberman or Andrew Huberman ice bath fat loss. Go ahead and pull that up for me and let's see what pops up. Let's see if we can get a quote of his on here. And there might be like one on Twitter or something like that. If there isn't one easily accessible. No, don't use this one. Don't use this one because don't even look at that. Don't even look at that. Because I have that one pulled up for later. Huberman is a big ice bath proponent, or at least he was back in 2023. And there's one in particular. Click on that one. What is the shivering protocol for fat loss?
Oh, okay.
Let's see if this. Just go ahead and scan that. And while you're scanning that, let me see if let me know if there's any numbers he throws out. Anyway, there was a interesting study, and hang with me here because you're probably going to be pointing flaws. You're an intelligent audience. You're going to be pointing out flaws in the study that I'm about to reference, and I hear you, and we'll talk about why there are flaws, but why it's also not completely invalid. So 2025 study, randomized control trial. Do you know what a randomized control trial is? It's fine if not.
No. I couldn't explain it.
Do you want to take a stab at it?
No.
Okay. So it's where you take two groups. One is a control and the other is like the intervention group. Mm-hmm. And then you randomize to one of those two, or maybe more groups, but let's just say for sake of simplicity, you have a control group. You always have a control group.
Right.
And then you have the intervention group to see, is your intervention doing anything? And then you compare the results between groups, right?
I'm not gonna lie. I thought that was how all studies were done. Like I thought that's.
Oh no, there's like observational studies where.
Well, yeah, I knew that, but I guess I thought that. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, and so there's a bunch of different study types, but an RCT is like, it's a really good one, and then there's like a meta-analysis.
Yeah, no, I.
But yes. I understand what you're saying. You're saying like
I thought when you're looking at like intervention type things that it was like pretty much always like a random.
Gotcha.
You're placed within one of these groups, so that was. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Anyway, so the title of this one is Cold Induces Increased Ad Libitum Energy Intake Independent of Changes in Energy Expenditure, a Controlled Crossover Trial in Adults. Now, if you are familiar with the Latin that I just threw out there, it's been spoiled. You already know what's happening here. You already know what I'm about to say. But basically, this study took people and randomly assign them to either a 74-degree room or a 66-degree room for 24 hours, and then energy intake was observed. I'm really not getting into the thick of the details because it's a little bit more elaborate than that, but let's just like keep it simple and say that's what happened, okay? The study showed that people who were when they were in the 66-degree room, the colder room, they ate about 400 more calories per day with basically no increase in energy expenditure. 400 calories in 24 hours more. Okay. are you able to already see the flaw in my logic here on how this would correlate to an ice bath? Because it's not a totally fair comparison. These people you're in an ice bath for
a couple
5-10 minutes,
sure.
like tops, and these people were in a much warmer environment, still cold-ish, but much warmer than an ice bath. 66 degrees was the cold room. Is that what you're looking for?
It's like slightly warmer.
And then 74 was the other one.
Okay,
yeah. So, and so I hear you. Like, okay, well, that's not a fair comparison because an ice bath is a matter of minutes. This was 24 hours. This was, and an ice bath is much, much colder than this. Okay, sure. The estimates of let's just like put that aside really quick. The estimates of an increased energy expenditure when you're in an ice bath are somewhere around 15%. And I want to be very specific on this. That is specific and isolated to when you are in that ice bath. So let's take your resting energy expenditure. Let's just say 1,500. Okay. And then let's go ahead and add 1,500. Let's take five. That's across an entire day. Take 5 minutes of that day. I mean, that's not very much, right?
Right.
We're talking a couple calories, and then we're talking an increase of about 15% in that time frame. 10x it. Like to say that these estimates right now are super conservative, let's double, let's triple, let's quadruple. I mean, even still, you're going to burn more energy if you just spend that 5 minutes going for a damn walk.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so minimal. And that's assuming that there is not that effect of increased energy expenditure that like we saw with that, that longer time frame. So go ahead. No, you're good. Because that's basically where I'm going to leave it off at for that.
I was just going to say, like, if this was true, like if being cold just like burnt more calories, like wouldn't we all just get slim in the winter?
Yeah. I think we would. Outside of, I mean, outside of like the holiday seasons that, are in the winter.
Sure.
But I also think that like people in the north would just be leaner. Like
we would all be skinny legends.
Yeah.
Living here in Michigan.
I would be so lean every winter. But like,
yeah, you just go outside for a couple minutes.
Now, truthfully, because I track my calories, the opposite happens because I'm wearing hoodies. I'm going bear mode. Like I'm bulking.
Yeah.
Usually I try to line up a bulk throughout the winter. Because it's also
hibernation.
Yeah. It's Fat Bear Week. Did you know
I don't know what that is.
Google Fat Bear Week. You're going to love this. I think Fat Bear Week is going on right now. Go ahead and report on this for us, for the listeners and me. Maybe type in what. Go ahead and read it. Explain what you're seeing for the audience.
Okay. I'm on explore.org and Fat Bear Week 2025. Vote for the fattest bear of the year. Oh, okay. So this looks like this is a national park in Alaska. The brown bears get fat to survive the winter hibernation. This is a single elimination tournament. For each matchup, vote for the bear you believe best exemplifies fatness. Oh, this is delightful.
Wow. I mean, it's impressive too. These are these bears really did bulk up. They did a great job. Is that their weight? What is that?
No. This is like the before.
No, I see before and after. But what is that? Like the 609 there?
I think that's just like
their identifier.
Yeah, they have to. Okay. I'm assuming they have to be tagged somehow.
Yeah.
I don't. Who's getting close to the brown bears to tag them?
Does it show who's in the lead, or is that not the case?
No, we have to vote.
Okay, and it's just those two. It's down to those two.
This is match 1.
No, this is match 1. And it said that voting ends on the 30th, September 30th, I think, near the top. There's multiple polls.
Oh my God, this is a small bar. There's like a lot of them.
Scroll down all the way to the bottom. See how many bears there are.
Oh, okay. No.
Okay, just links and stuff.
What is today?
The 23rd.
23rd. Okay, I understand. Okay, it looks like there's like 2 each day.
Okay, 2 each day until we get to the 30th where we crown the fattest bear.
Yeah, that's the finals.
All right. Well, everybody, we are all eagerly awaiting to see who the fattest bear champion is this year.
Everyone go to explore.org.
You got to vote.
This is important.
Your vote matters.
Your vote does matter.
Okay. Let's get back to the topic at hand.
Okay.
So, ice baths, for the people who are looking for the summary, for the takeaway. Ice baths for fat loss, good, bad, or neutral?
I mean, I guess theoretically, like, didn't you say there's like a small, like 2-calorie difference? You might burn an extra couple calories in an ice bath. So I guess if
I feel like you missed the part about the potential to increase energy intake.
Yes, I completely hear you. I was kind of glossing over that because of that.
You know, again,
and looking solely at the ice bath itself. Anecdotally, when I'm cold in the winter, I eat a little more. So.
Well, there we have it. Facts are facts.
I'm gonna I feel like this is hard to say. Like, I hear you on the theoretical. Like, does it really make sense that wouldn't have an impact? But at the same time, it's so short. Like, it's such a quick thing. And then at the same time, it's such a minuscule positive association of like extra calories burnt 15% over whatever. Then, like, isn't this just negligible?
I would say my take on it right now is neutral, if not negative. That is my current outlook based on everything I've read, everything I hear from, really respected researchers in the field. They're big proponents of this are going to throw out stuff like brown fat. Now, brown fat is a type of adipose tissue. Adipose tissue just meaning fat cells, whatever, fat tissue. It's a type of adipose tissue that has distinct qualities. We typically have more of it when we are babies and children. And we thought much, much, much less of it, maybe bordering on none into adulthood. But that's not true. We actually do have pockets of brown fat. Now, if you routinely expose yourself to this, too cold, you may be able to turn some of your white fat, so to speak, into more of a not quite brown, but they call it, I'm not even kidding, beige. They call it beige fat, where it takes on some of the characteristics of brown fat. Brown fat is very dense in mitochondria, and when you are cold, it can take energy, calories, that you eat, and start to use it for heat creation. Now, this is like the mechanistic idea of what's happening, but all of that's just interesting knowledge. And not to say that is because that's what's happening when there's like an increase in resting energy expenditure of 15% ish. When you hear the stuff about, but you're turning more white fat into beige fat or brown fat, know that person is a charlatan. Know that person is an idiot. And now you know better. Now you know like, mechanistically that is true. But when we actually look at like a human being that is doing it, there's no practical outcomes. Okay. Honestly, the hot versus cold for recovery, this is not a super interesting topic.
Okay.
Because we just don't have that much data on saunas, on heat. However, if cold is bad for muscle growth, right? Bad for muscle growth. Cold is bad for muscle growth, like ice bath, right? Heat is at absolute worst, it's neutral. Okay. There may be a slight benefit, but there has not been enough really high quality research to definitively say. And if it is, like, if there is a positive effect, it's probably pretty marginal. So I'm just gonna like gloss over this one really quick, just kind of power through it, because this one I don't think is very interesting because there's not enough research. If you enjoy saunas, great, awesome. But if you're looking to them to improve your recovery, I would say like it's not going to do anything that magical, that beneficial. And if you are looking to them for cardiovascular benefits, there may be some cardiovascular benefits there, but I would say they probably aren't going to outweigh spending a similar amount of time doing actual cardio exercise.
Bummer.
Yeah, I know. So again, if a sauna is something that you really enjoy, definitely don't feel like you have to stop doing it. But if it's something that you're not currently doing and you're thinking like, oh, would this really benefit me? I think there are better uses of time. Mm-hmm. Again, unless you started to really enjoy it. Do you want to summarize that one? I feel like I just did summarize that one.
I feel like that's that.
Okay. So what have we learned so far? Ice baths are hit or miss for recovery, depending on the context you use.
Sure, yeah.
If you're looking for long-term muscle and strength, they're bad.
Yeah.
But if you're looking for immediate reduction, not literally immediate, but like, yeah, I mean, basically
pretty
quick reduction in soreness, good. But probably bad for fat loss. Neutral, if not bad for fat loss. Some people are going to be listening to this or telling their significant other about this. And they're going to, and maybe their significant other or them, they're going to be saying, they're going to be listening to this, clutching onto their little ice cubes and thinking, I do it to stay mentally tough and sharp. And then they point to their messiah, Andrew Huberman. You guys, I want to like this guy. I want to like him. He is seemingly really intelligent. He frequently states that he has the mission of bringing education, like high quality education, to the masses. I want to like that. Like in theory, I like that. But when you point out, or when you are sharing the dumbest stuff over and over and over again, and you're like pointing to rats and being like, look at, there's a rat mechanism. Let's use that in humans. Or, this is how it works in humans. It's like, that's a rat, dude. I'm not a rat. Yeah. You know? And so it's like, I don't know. Let me just get to my point. In 2023, he shared a study that I'm going to get to in just a moment. I love this one. This one, I spent like an hour reading this one. I couldn't believe it. I was literally baffled. Okay, he tweeted, a 2-minute cold immersion to the neck and 5 30-second cold showers per week led to a significant reduction in abdominal fat and waist circumference in men in this study. Also, multiple psychological improvements related to stress and well-being. You guys, if you just zoned out, zone in. That is a lie. Because I can't have somebody taking me out of context and thinking like, oh wow, okay, I should do cold. Like, he just said cold is really good. Oh my God. No, that would be my nightmare. That would be my nightmare. If somebody clipped that, posted on the internet and said, look at Alex is talking about how good cold water, we're going to just sideline that for a second. Okay. Mm-hmm. That tweet, we're just going to sideline that. We're going to actually look at the study.
Okay.
I don't think he did.
Okay.
I really don't think, because I don't think it needed a trained eye. I think it just needed one read through to understand that there were some serious questionable things that he said in that statement. But okay, if we wanted to look at an intervention, specifically how an intervention impacts a group of people, how would you do that? Earlier in this episode, we covered this exactly. So this is your time.
RCTs.
What does that stand for?
Randomized control trial.
And how do we set them up?
We get a group of people, and then we randomly put them into 2 different groups.
Yep,
one is controlled and one is
the intervention group.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yes, exactly. Yes. We're going to come back to that. Okay. That has a point. Okay. All right. So the intervention group, they started off with some body composition tests and a life satisfaction survey.
Ooh.
Yes. Then you couldn't, I don't know how much they got paid. Then they took a 4-hour training session on the benefits of cold exposure.
That's
4
wild.
hours. This podcast has been 34 minutes. Can you imagine doing 8 times that, where all we talked about was the benefits of
Wait, so everyone did this?
The intervention only group.
Okay.
I like where your head's at. I like how you're questioning this because, again, that's important. Okay. So the intervention group had a 4-hour training session on the benefits. I need to see the cliff notes. I have to see what the outline of that. Like, how do you spend 4 hours? Anyways. Okay. Then researchers exposed the intervention group to cold. And this was a combination of outdoors cold or cold showers. And then after 8 weeks, and they did that repeatedly for 8 weeks. After 8 weeks, they repeated the body composition and the life satisfaction surveys, right?
Uh-huh.
Now, at the end, the researchers compared the before and the after of only the intervention group.
Interesting.
See, that's where I like that you perked up there. That's not how research is done. When you have, this wasn't a randomized control trial anymore. What was the control group there for? You could have gone home. You guys didn't need to be here. If all we're doing is telling people for 4 hours how great ice baths are, basically, cold water immersion, cold, whatever, right? Then for 8 weeks, we make them do this thing that we just spent 4 hours telling them how great it is. Do you think that they're going to have a subjective measure of life being better?
Right.
You would, right?
Yeah.
They didn't.
That's really funny.
Okay, so here's the craziest thing. So again, I want to go back to what Huberman said. He said, multiple psychological improvements related to stress and well-being. So what was actually found was that there was a very uncertain and very, very mild improvement in self-reported sexual satisfaction. That's it. They measured, I wish I had the study pulled up. They measured so many, like I don't know, maybe 8 to 10 different things metrics within the life satisfaction survey, and the only one and it was shaky. So when you get above a p-value of 0.05, that is like a relatively arbitrary point. That means 95. So if it is 0.05, that is 95% confidence that these results would be repeated in a subsequent study. If you have a p-value of 0.01, you are now at 99% confidence, right? So, and then above a 0.05, if it is, so it would mean that it's less than 95% confident. That is where we kind of get into murky waters of like, probably this isn't a viable, outcome, because we're not sure if it'd be repeated. So every other one did not have a p-value of under 0.05. So anyway, I just think it's hilarious. We're going to move on real quick, but there were also multiple issues along the lines of some participants, you would have their names were duplicated in both in one group. So maybe 2 people in one group. How does that work? Some participants somehow belonged to both the control and the intervention group.
Interesting.
How does that work? And so on and so forth. The study was so methodologically flawed that it was retracted by the journal that originally published it. That is a very rare thing.
Yeah, that's one thing I know.
That is something around the neighborhood of like, I did a quick Google on this before. It's somewhere in the neighborhood of like 5 to 10 in the USA. And I don't know if this is a USA-based study, to be fair, but 5 to 10 studies out of 10,000 get retracted, like roughly. Yeah. Huberman's tweet got 4.7 million views on Twitter alone.
Yeah.
What a bummer. I mean, genuinely, what a bummer that somebody who prides themselves on such high quality research and has such a big platform. I don't know if he doesn't have an assistant just like proofreading something, but he has the budget to be able to do better. And it really bums me out that he can't just pay somebody to just double check the stuff that he's throwing out there and like the research that he is allegedly reading or not. I don't know. I also want to highlight that if you are like, okay, well, that's research. I have my lived experience of ice baths are hard for me to do, and I feel accomplished after doing them. I'm not telling you necessarily like not to do them. Like, it's fine. If that's your decision, that's your prerogative. Okay, that's fine. But I will say that I think the benefits, the mental benefits, they come probably more from doing something difficult and challenging yourself. Like, I feel really good when mentally, when I win a game of chess, when I learn something new, or when I finish some exercise. Like, you can challenge yourself in those ways without getting in a bucket of ice water. I don't know.
Of course, if you just truly enjoy being cold, like that's fine too.
Do your thing, whatever. Okay. Do you want to recap the mental side of things? You don't have to do all the study stuff, but like, are they good for? Does the research currently suggest that they are amazing for mental health?
Not really.
Doesn't seem like it.
No.
Yeah. Okay. So when might ice baths make sense? And you already spoiled this one.
Yeah, sorry guys.
No, this was great. This was great. If you're like a CrossFit Games athlete, which if you're listening, hi. I'm so honored. That's amazing. I'm rooting for you.
We tune in every year.
We do. We don't do CrossFit. I did CrossFit back in the day. Back in like 20.
I think one CrossFit workout would kill me.
Oh, you can scale it, but
even still,
it'd be tough. It'd be tough. But yeah, I think I did it 2016 and 2017, or no, 2015, 2016 maybe.
It must have been 2015, 2016.
Yeah, because it was before we were together. Yeah.
Like, or maybe right before. Anyway.
Right before, yeah. Anyway, so if you're like a CrossFit Games athlete or something along those lines where you have like 2 events in a single day and you need to recover after the first event and it was really grueling, for example, you need to recover and you don't care about muscle growth because you're competing at the CrossFit Games or some event where you're like, I'm training 99% of the year.
Right. Performance in this
Performance is the number one thing. Yeah. Ice can acutely help with recovery. So yeah, back-to-back events, like, yeah, maybe that's a good idea.
Is this something that like, if you're doing like a triathlon or something like that?
There's no time between events and triathlon. Like, you have to transfer right away.
Yeah. Okay.
So, okay. There was a really nice summary that Eric Trexler wrote and shared in Mass. And I'm just going to go ahead and read that really quick, because I think it so succinctly covered everything that we covered in this podcast episode. All right, here goes. Again, this is Eric Trexler, and he wrote this in Mass. Highly recommend subscribing to that. Here we go. If someone enjoys ice baths, I have no reason or inclination to convince them to stop using them. However, my goal as a fitness professional is to summarize the pros and cons of a given strategy to the best of my ability in order to empower fitness enthusiasts to make their own decisions based on fully informed cost-benefit analyses. There are a few potential costs of ice baths that may be noteworthy, and they range from fairly improbable to virtually certain. Rapid immersion in cold water could trigger dangerous cardiac events in people with a pre-existing predisposition, but this is a fairly low probability outcome. In addition, some people end up spending a lot of money on ice bath equipment, although that's not always necessary. On the higher probability side, there is research to suggest that ice baths may impair training adaptations. As for the virtual certainty, ice baths are downright unpleasant. The noteworthy upside, he's such a good writer. The noteworthy upside with substantial supporting evidence is that ice baths can acutely improve some aspects of recovery. When it comes to psychological outcomes, cognitive outcomes, and overall health, I haven't come across any particularly compelling evidence. Much of the evidence people point to involves cold water swimming rather than ice baths, which is typically confounded by the additive effects of exercise, socialization, and time spent in nature or out of the house, rather than cold water exposure per se. Honestly, I could have hopped on the mic, turned on the podcast, said hello, read that, turned it off. But I saved that for last because I think the journey of getting here, I don't know, I think I hope it was fun.
I had a great time.
Let's talk about the simple decision tree so people can leave here with some key takeaways.
I love it.
We're going to break it down into 4 rules. Do you have muscle and strength goals? What should you do? Should you skip ice baths or should you do ice baths? Skip them. Are you competing again in 24 to 72 hours? Should you skip ice baths or use them?
You are competing?
Yep.
Sure.
Yeah, go for it. Whatever. Do you have fat loss goals? If you do have fat loss goals, should you use ice baths or skip them?
I mean, that's your own prerogative.
I'd probably skip them, to be honest. And then, do you want to strengthen your your cognitive capabilities? Will ice baths help, hurt, or neutral effect? Or tough to say?
I mean, it's a little tough to say, but the research doesn't
seem super compelling.
Yeah.
Yeah. My advice would be go do literally anything that poses a challenge and do that consistently. Okay. That is everything. Is there anything you want to wrap up this episode with?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. We're really, really happy to be back. We are going to make this a more consistent thing. We found just a way. We're in our kitchen, if you didn't recognize, which is also our living room because, house isn't a mansion or anything.
But that's the trend nowadays.
Is that the trend?
Yeah.
Open concept. That's true.
We're trendy.
That's a good point. Yeah, we're trendy. Yeah, there actually was a really big wall here. We just knocked that down. I'm kidding. We didn't do that, of course. We bought the house as is. Okay. Everybody, thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. We're really happy to be here. And we will have another episode coming soon. Take care, everybody.